Hello and welcome to the Yoga in Black podcast, where I have conversations with Black yoga and wellness leaders from across the country. My name is Tierney McDowell, and I too am a yoga instructor and the creator and host of this show. Each week, I'm joined by Black yoga instructors, meditation instructors, or holistic wellness professionals to have a conversation about anything under the sun and the moon. We'll talk about a large variety of topics with the intention for you as listeners to get to know us, get a feel for the vibes, and find your next yoga instructor if you're in search of someone to learn from. All episodes of the podcast are pre recorded, so if we talk about something that happened a while ago, bear with us. We're doing the best we can with the time that we got. Thank you so much for listening, and I hope you enjoy the show. Hello, and welcome back to the Yoga in Black podcast. Again, my name is Tierney, and I am so happy to be joined by a friend of mine, Courtney Broughton. We've known each other, gosh, I don't even remember how many years now, but we met via Instagram and
Yeah.
ended up living in Dallas around the same time and just took it off from there. And I'm just excited for you guys to get to know her again because, believe it or not, this is her third time talking with
Yeah.
me on this platform. Except now we're getting to do it podcast form. So really, this is just an opportunity to catch up with Courtney, see where things have been for her and how things are going. So Courtney, I'm going to let you take it away. Tell us who you are, a little bit more about yourself, and then we'll have a little chit chat.
Sounds good. I think it has been like at least 3 years, Tyranny, since we met in person. To your point, we were friends on Instagram first, and I was low key following you like a little stalker, like a lot of people do. I don't even have any shame about it. Most people stalk someone at some point in their life on social media.
It's
That's what
mutual.
it's for. Yeah. And then we met at a photo shoot. It was just a whole bunch of beautiful brown yogis that came together and had a photo shoot. And that's where I got to meet a lot of people in the DFW area for the first time that had similar interests and similar passions as mine when it comes to yoga. And that is what I love to do. I like to facilitate yoga classes, particularly I offer psychotherapeutic yoga sessions for people who look like us, but I also teach other styles of yoga like power yoga. I teach meditation, breath work, anything that I'm passionate about that I can share with anybody else, I will do. But the two main types of yoga that I teach are psychotherapeutic yoga and power yoga. I've been teaching for about as long as I've known you, child. Maybe even longer. No. I've been teaching longer. So if I've known you for 3 or 4 years, I've been teaching for about 5, maybe 6 years at this point.
I was gonna say, I'm
And
like, because I remember you doing your teacher training a little bit before you moved here, right?
yeah, well,
Yeah.
I was teaching yoga before I got my psychotherapeutic yoga certification. Um, I was I had like there was a student, it low key saved my life. One of the first yoga studios that I met or that I went to in the Dallas area, it was in North Dallas. And when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody, which is part of the reason why I went to that photo shoot. Cause I was like, when I heard it was just going to be a whole bunch of Black girls doing yoga, being cute and taking pictures, you know, I had to be about that. But before that, I found this studio and I would practice there at least once a day. Some days I was doing twofers, and she saw my commitment and my dedication and decided to mentor me for a little while before I actually got my certification. So, and that was a power yoga studio. So I did that first. And then when I decided I wanted to teach yoga, I saw the benefits that yoga had on my life personally, physically and emotionally and mentally, even spiritually. And I knew it was more to that than just the asana part, which is why when I went to get my certification, I was very intentional about finding a school that taught the impacts that yoga has on the brain. And that to me kind of made everything come together in a way that made sense, because a lot of times I feel like yoga can be very, very spiritual. In addition to the asana part, I said asana, Lord Jesus. In addition to the asana part being having its effects or positive effects, I knew that there was more to it than that. So I wanted to make sure I found a school that could kind of help bring and bridge those concepts together for me in a real way, so that when I went to go teach, I was able to really explain to people the benefits that yoga has, not only on the physical but actual the mental and the spiritual as well, in a way that made sense. Because I don't know, you tell me about your first couple of experiences with yoga, but it feels good. It feels good in a way that's not just physical.
Oh,
And
absolutely.
yeah,
Because I even knew it from the moment that I had my first bad experience. Because technically, my first experience with yoga was not a good one. But I'm like, it was so much focused on the physical that I felt so disconnected and confused the entire time because I didn't know what was going on at all anyway. And I'm like, yeah, I think this is not for me. Like, and not to mention, even though it was during a pageant week, I was the only black person there.
pageant.
Well, like I competed for Miss Iowa at one point.
Oh yeah, I think I
Yeah.
did know that. Yeah, I did.
Yeah, weird time in my life. But yeah, we had like a spa day or something like that, and we had massages for a half hour and then a half hour of yoga. And my mistake was doing the massage first and then yoga
Uh,
second. But the instructor was really just focused on like trying to turn us into pretzels, and I'm like, yes, we may all be, younger women, and able-bodied enough,
but is this
but
safe?
like this is not what I'm here for, nor what's going on. And I've got to be on stage tomorrow, and you trying to, bend and twist me into these. I'm like, no,
Tear a muscle.
good.
Yeah.
And it just felt very disconnected. And I'm like, I feel like I could have skipped this and been just fine, if not better, and just maybe chose to do 2 massage sessions instead of
Right. Just give me my massage and let me go to bed. Cause what is this? Yeah.
Man. But then the next time that I actually ended up in a yoga class, I went with my mother to a benefit class for someone in the community that had passed away, and we were raising funds to help with his child. And that was the experience that sparked it for me. Um, the instructor was just very intuitive and knowledgeable about everything. And yes, the asana was challenging, but she tapped into things that I hadn't even thought could be possible in that type of environment because I, like most people, walked into it thinking, oh, it's just a, low impact kind of
Stretch.
workout thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, there's nothing's, phenomenal is about to happen. And then next thing I know, I'm on the mat crying in Shavasana with a cold towel on my face. And I was like, okay, I gotta do this every day. I have to do this every day now. And I haven't looked back since. And I don't want to ever because you're right. It does impact so many other things and definitely some mental neurological things because I think that's all where it stems from and what, those that came before us that, either discovered or created the practice understood that it brings you closer to something so much deeper than just your outer shell. So I'm always all for any of that brings you a little closer to it all. And I'm extremely curious to learn more about the specifics of say it for me again.
Psychotherapeutic yoga.
Thank you, because words are hard. Tell me more about psychotherapeutic yoga and what are the things that really differentiate it from the more spiritual practice, I guess,
I'll
or if it
honestly,
does.
yeah, yeah, and that's what I would start off with. I don't know that it necessarily differentiates or separates anything from the spiritual part of it. I think that the spiritual part of yoga is what is the most important part about psychotherapeutic yoga. So for me, psychotherapeutic yoga helps to bring in all of the some of the main branches of the yogic philosophy into a practice for people who are suffering from mental illnesses. And it helps to explain how the yogic practices and philosophies can help, even in modern day society, help individuals find coping mechanisms, healthy habits, healthy coping mechanisms to manage daily stress or even more severe mental illnesses.
Okay, I think that is extremely important because that was something I wish my therapist had pushed me towards at the beginning, because I had people in my ear saying, you should do yoga, you should do yoga. And mostly, my therapist saying these things. And had I known that this existed to target, the different mental illness things that were going on with me, I think I would have had a much better experience from jump and then moving into it, instead of having that extremely long period of time between the bad experience and the good one.
Yeah.
Or just, jumping into it and trying to find those coping mechanisms myself. It was difficult. And honestly, what is it, almost 10 years later now? Still is sometimes. So it's nice to know that there's that tool there for people that are going through all these things, because a lot of people come to yoga with a lot of mental illness.
Honestly, if you've lived through the past 2 years, you have experienced some form of trauma.
Welcome to the
So,
gang.
yeah. And so when people say mental illness, a lot of times it has a negative stigma. Mental illness
Mhm.
could be any number of things, whether you've been diagnosed with something that's a chemical imbalance or if it's something that impacted. And honestly, most mental illnesses are a matter of a chemical imbalance, right? But it
Mhm.
could come from something that you were born with, or it could come from external factors. And so, regardless, I don't know a single person on this planet that has not had some type of event, whether it's whether they were born with it or external outside of themselves, that hasn't impacted them in a way that has caused some form of trauma. And
Oh
with
yeah.
that, your brain is wired to help you protect yourself, to help. The brain is supposed to help you survive in the best way that it knows how. And sometimes you don't always necessarily have the best tools to associate what's safe and what's not safe. So over time, if you've experienced one trauma, if you experience multiple traumas, over time your brain associates certain things with being safe or unsafe, and your body responds accordingly. Your brain will put chemicals in your body to say, hey, in this environment, you're not okay. Fight or flight, right? So get tense, eh, bring all of the blood from your outer extremities to your inner extremities, send these hormones to different parts of the organs. There are literally chemical reactions that happen in the body. So when people say that trauma lives in the body, it literally does. So psychotherapeutic yoga is not meant to replace therapy at all. It's not something that can be done without therapy as well. So talk therapy is a very important piece of what psychotherapeutic yogas do. You can use it after you've gone through, like if you've experienced extreme trauma or extreme mental ill, or you're suffering from mental illness, talk therapy or psychiatric help will always be the first go-to. But your therapist may say this, in addition to what we already have on your treatment plan, will help you find the best ways to manage throughout the rest of your life. And that's what psychotherapeutic yoga does. And then there are some instances where, you no longer need to go to talk therapy. Maybe you just use psychotherapeutic yoga to maintain all the work that you've already done, if that makes sense.
Oh, 100%. Because I feel like the best that I ever was mentally was when I was doing both talk therapy and yoga at the same time. Um, because both really go hand in hand with each other.
Yeah.
You do need to have that. I won't say you need, because it's totally up to whoever wants to take part and who can.
Yeah,
But
we can't tell people how to live their life. Yeah.
exactly. But as a living testament, it helps. It really does, to have
Yeah.
someone that's a third party to talk to, because they're coming in with an unbiased opinion on anything that you're doing in your life. They have the tools that you need in order to go about taking on these challenges of the world, because the world's always going to throw some stuff at you. It's constant. It's just like you were saying, there's not a single person in this world that has not experienced some type of event that has changed them in some type of way, and that is literally the definition of trauma. So it's I if there is a trauma free person out there, I would love to meet them and just shake their hand. But I'm
I,
like, how is
I
that
want to
possible?
shake
What did
their
you
hand.
do?
I want to know what bubble you lived in for the past
Right.
however many years. How did you avoid people? How did you avoid? How did you avoid life? Like, yeah. And that's not to say that people don't have ways of managing their trauma or managing their mental illness or managing their stress and their depression and anxiety. That doesn't mean that you didn't experience a trauma. It just
Hmm.
means that you found ways to either avoid it, manage it, cope with it, whatever the case may be. Yeah, if there, like you said, if there is a person, I want to look at them, put them in a glass box, and let me just see, because
Or what is that? What's that question that people were asking? A certain dollar amount, or would you choose a certain dollar amount, or go to lunch with Jay-Z or something like that? I'm like, I want that to be placed in there. Choose a dollar amount, or meet this person that's never experienced. I'm like, I want to talk to them. How did you do this? Please let me know. I need the
right,
secrets.
yeah,
Need the secrets. So let's
yeah.
see. The last we got together and talked in this setting was, gosh, a year and a half ago, right? Ish. Maybe even
Um,
close to, I want to say, if it wasn't, it hasn't been two.
no, it might be two because I've been in this house for about 2 years, so it's probably been almost. It's probably been about 2.5.
I
Yeah,
don't know because this turned two in July. So I don't know. Either way,
yeah. So
it's
that's
been a
over two
minute.
years. Yeah, it's over
It's been
July.
a minute. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
what have you been up to in that amount of time?
Psychotherapeutic yoga, because I think that I think the last time we talked, uh, I think I was already certified as a psychotherapeutic yoga instructor, but I was sneaking it into power yoga classes, and it was effective to a point. But I'll tell you, it got for me, it came to a point where I was just like, I just want to teach psychotherapeutic yoga. I love practicing power yoga, and I do love teaching power yoga, but it was more fulfilling for me to be able to facilitate a more healing, mentally healing version of yoga that meant something to me on such a deep level. And so I took the leap to stop teaching power yoga and start reaching out to specifically Black mental health coaches and therapists in the DFW area and partner with them to start offering psychotherapeutic yoga sessions, whether it's in a group environment or one on one sessions. That's where my focus has been over the past year. Um, and it's going pretty well. And I think what I want to do real quick, if we can, is kind of define what psychotherapeutic yoga means when you partner with a therapist. If
Absolutely. Like, give us all the nuggets. Come on.
so, if you're currently in therapy, and there's a lot of different scenarios and situations where your therapist might recommend or refer you to me. Uh, so, just as one example, let's say, for instance, a lot of people have um, stressors that show up in a physical way. So if you've ever seen anyone who has, I never pronounce this the right way, please forgive me if this is something that you've been diagnosed with, but it's trichinosis, tricha something. It's a condition where individuals will pull at a certain section of hair until the hair is no longer there. Or clients who suffer from bulimia or anorexia, if there's a physical manifestation of a mental illness or a trauma, a therapist might recommend that you practice psychotherapeutic yoga. And the purpose of that is to bring more awareness into the physical body so that you can build a connection between the brain, the body, and the spiritual aspect. And that way you can find those moments where you feel a trigger And instead of going to an unhealthy coping mechanism, you find another tool like psychotherapeutic yoga, whether it's breath work, whether it's meditation, whether it's actually movement and asana, to actually replace that trigger that you've had in the past. Again, this is not to replace talk therapy. That is a very, very important part of your treatment plan, but this is an additional tool. So with a therapist, I would partner with them and we'd have a conversation about what the client is currently suffering from, what the therapist wants me to help the client work on. And then I go and I create a treatment plan based on yogic philosophies. So a lot of times that could include things like pranayama, which is breath work, right? It could include things like asana, which is postures, warrior one, warrior two, down dog. We know those things. It could include meditation, which is just a slowing down of the mind, clearing out the thoughts, and finding stillness. It could include mantras. Which is just either an internal chant that you say to yourself, a very simple statement, usually starts with I am, and then a being statement like I am peace, I am joy, I am this, that, or the other, right? Very simple, very easy to repeat. Or what else did I say? Pranayama, asana, mantra, meditation. What am I missing? And then there's other things that you could couple with that as well, like Ayurvedic tools. Sometimes I like to incorporate essential oils or certain foods or certain colors that can kind of incorporate chakras occasionally. But sometimes when we talk about chakras, that gets into a whole, that could go down a rabbit hole. I like to use that with clients that I've built a long-term relationship with. So I don't generally introduce that in the first couple of sessions. But that's kind of what it entails. And the beautiful thing about it is for each client that I work with, the treatment plan is never the same. And because I have all of these different tools to work from asana all the way up to mantras and everything in between, I can create something that's very specific and tailored for that particular individual, based on where they are on that day or based on their diagnosis, right? So it's very fascinating. It's never boring. And I really like the opportunity to be able to build these relationships with clients. And they come to those moments where they say, I didn't think that I would like this, but I can see how this will benefit me long term. Oh, my robot vacuum just started. Girl, I was like, who was in here with me?
That's why I don't have that thing on a timer, because I would do that same thing. Like,
yeah, well, with my dog, he sheds a little bit. So I have, because what I'm not going to do is
yeah, trust,
not every day.
I'm right here with you. Like two
Yeah,
big
I
shedding
know you
dogs.
are.
Yeah. That's why the robot vacuum was an essential.
If I could afford
Man.
another one, I would, but it was a very good investment for the one I have.
Whew, you ain't
They're
never
not cheap.
lied.
Yeah.
But no,
But
I
anyway, so
really,
yeah,
no, go ahead.
that's basically what psychotherapeutic yoga is. And then too, we do group sessions as well. So with those, that's a little bit more, it can't be tailor-made to everybody in the classroom, right?
Right.
But it always includes meditation, it includes breath work, it includes asana. And then a lot of times I'll offer like 2, maybe 3 mantras for the class to choose from. So whatever speaks to them. And then we'll take the time at the end of practice to do some breath work and use that mantra throughout. Yeah.
I love that. That is so awesome. I'm finding that between the both of us, we both kind of started with teaching a lot of really group yoga classes, power flow type things. And now we're both kind of trailing it back into some smaller groups, more niche things that, make sense with where we're wanting to go and what aligns with us the most. I really love
Something,
that evolution that's happening.
yeah. I feel like it's okay to have both, right? Like at first, when I first started teaching power yoga, I had like this internal judgment because I was like, girl, you went and made sure that you found a psychotherapeutic yoga school to go to, and you out here making folks sweat until, you know what I'm saying? And then until they're musty and like, you know what I mean? But but those classes are fun and there's room for that. And that's the thing that I
Yes.
like. One of the things I love about yoga so much is there is space for everyone to find a way to get to peace and to get
Mm-hmm.
to stillness. And I feel like power yoga is a way for some individuals to find that path. And had I not had power yoga, I would not have come to psychotherapeutic yoga. So I feel like I don't want to judge me, let alone anybody else, for choosing um, a gateway to the benefits that yoga has to offer. But yeah, the more I mature and the more I learn about yoga, the more I realize that, yeah, power yoga is fun, but it doesn't give you the space and the room to really, um, for me, it doesn't give me the the room and you got to be careful. You got to be careful. It doesn't give me the space to offer um, and facilitate the type of healing that I want to be able to,
Mm-hmm.
and to build the relationships with the clients and the students that I would like to. And I found that psychotherapeutic yoga has afforded me that, and I can see the healing in real time. Whereas with power yoga, I saw the exhaustion, I saw the calmness, I saw the stillness, but
Yeah.
I don't know that I necessarily saw healing.
Yeah. And the reason I brought that up is because I wanted to point out how even with instructors, yoga as an instructor will always find you where you are.
Yeah,
Because you might have an idea of what you're going to start out with as soon as you finish your training. And it works out great at first, but you start to grow and evolve because that's just how it works. The practice takes you, somewhere deeper into yourself so that you find what it is that's, really, allowing your spirit to sing.
yeah.
Um, and if power yoga is it, then hell yeah, go about it because I still enjoy it. I don't
Mhm.
practice it as much as I used to, but
Right.
it's still fun to do here and there. And I'll
Yep.
always offer it. Like, there ain't no way I'm ever going to not offer it because it's just plain fucking fun.
It is.
But
It
I'm
is.
finding that I'm realizing how much large classes are not my thing. I like a smaller group. I like one-on-one sessions. And because for me, tying in all of these other things that I have learned throughout or about myself throughout this time is my attention span is trash. And having more than maybe like 10 people in a room is difficult for me to facilitate a safe space for people. And that's a me thing. If someone else is good at that, I'm gonna send you to that big ass class with all that energy. But some that for me, it's more than I can focus on, and I wouldn't be an effective instructor.
Yeah.
So I bring that up just as a saying to teachers out there, like you don't have to stick to one niche if that's where you've started. That just may be your start. You'll find where it is that fits for you, and especially if you're feeling that it doesn't fit.
That's a really good point because I think too a lot of yogis, well, and here's uh-oh. Well, a lot of what we do is we need to make money. Whether you love teaching yoga or not, we need to make money. If
Mm,
you've gone to school to get a certification, if you continue your education, if you've honed your skills, if you spend the time to really create a quality product that you can offer to other students, you deserve compensation. I will never not say that. I know that a lot of people like to donate and offer yoga classes. I love to do that too, but I
absolutely.
also need to pay my bills. And I've spent the time, I've spent the money, and I've spent the energy to make sure that when I teach a class, I teach it to the best of my ability with the utmost quality that I can possibly offer. And I appreciate compensation for that. But I say all that to say, a lot of times I feel like students or teachers, because when you go into a yoga studio, a lot of times your pay is based off of how many students you have in the classroom. And if that is not something that you feel comfortable or confident with doing, especially in the beginning, it's really, really tough. But anyway, so I think that has a lot to do with it too, right? You want to go to the most popular studio with the highest traffic. Okay.
Oh, Cairo.
Yeah, get him, baby, get him. All right, yeah. That's He's upset. He doesn't like it. People come in his neighborhood making noise, all that riffraff and
Is,
bass.
is he an old man dog?
He's a year and a half and grumpy as hell.
Yeah, get off my lawn type of old
Yeah,
man. Yeah.
you don't say they don't pay no bills. You don't pay no bills.
That is
But
totally Bailey.
but yeah, and so I think that's the challenge too, right? You want to be whatever is considered a successful yoga teacher, and a lot of times, by most definitions, it means that you need to fill up a classroom. And if you're not doing that, then you don't feel like a successful yoga teacher, and that's not necessarily the case. The 2 to 10 people who come to your class on a consistent basis, they need you.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly. Like that's always a challenge for any instructor I've ever seen
Mm-hmm.
is that notion in the head that even if you're at a studio that doesn't pay per head, because there are those that exist,
That's true. Yeah.
you're still thinking, oh, I want to have, the fullest class, I want to be sold out all the time. Like that's not always a reality, but that's okay because the people that are there, you are affecting change in. You are giving them something that's really benefiting them and you. But yeah, that whole you got to make money thing is so true. That's where I am right now. Like as much as I know where I want to be with my instruction and the type of things I want to do, I got to bite the bullet and teach some of these more fitness style classes than I would like to. But
Yeah.
the bills got to get paid.
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
that's just the name of the game at this
And
point.
honestly, I try to find whatever you want to call it, like the silver lining, the lesson in it. A lot of times that's where I honed a lot of my teaching skills. We're
Oh
past
yeah.
that point. Well, we're not past that point, you and I, but when I first started, that was really what I reminded myself of. And now it's a matter of saying, how can I incorporate the things that I'm most passionate about into the classes that I may not
Yes.
be the most passionate about teaching?
Oh
So there's
yeah.
always a lesson, even in those opportunities that don't really feel like what you want to be doing, or they're not reflective of where you see yourself at that particular moment, right?
Oh
But
yeah.
yeah, I and I'm not gonna lie, I like a packed out class occasionally. I do. Now, I say that I don't want it. I When I was teaching power yoga classes on a regular basis, I loved the energy, but it is exhausting.
That part. That
Yeah,
part. And I think
yeah,
that's
it
what
out.
was messing with me because I'm sensitive to burnout and it was
Yeah,
wearing me out to teach that many classes with that much energy all the time, and that means I'm having to also provide that much energy. They're giving it back and I'm just like,
yeah,
can I
yeah.
get
You got to find a way to
a
filter
yin
it.
or restorative type of class in there?
Yeah, to
Because,
balance that thing
oh
out.
my
Yeah,
goodness, that's a
yeah,
lot. It's a lot.
that's
But
very true.
yeah, even to just tie into some of what we've both been collectively talking about with this is like all of these experiences allow you to find the teacher that you are so that you can become your unique and authentic self in
Yep.
your offerings, because that's what still ends up packing out classes, is that people come to see you and your essence
Yes.
and the things that you are good at.
I love
Trying
that.
Yeah, trying
Not
to be
trying to
somebody
be,
else is
yes,
not gonna get the
yes,
people to come to you. Be
yes.
you and
Eh,
take
Yeah,
all of these things that you've learned, not only about, the practice, but about yourself, and just apply all of that all in one, and you get this really beautiful, unique package that you get to hand out to whoever's coming to the class, and they're like, I love this package. I need to go get some more of it. And they're gonna come right back to you. And it's where
yeah.
it's the beauty of it.
Oh, I'm so glad you said that. I needed that friendly reminder, because if I'm just being fully transparent, I'd be lying if I didn't say I didn't have that moment where I was like, I want the classes that I see another yoga instructor teaching. I want
Yeah.
this many people in my, this feels like this is what I'm supposed to be striving for. And if I don't have that version of it, I must be doing something wrong. And it's, again, we do our, to your point, we do ourselves a disservice by saying that, by looking at someone else and saying that's who I'm supposed to be, instead of saying, no, what is it that you really want, and how do you want to show up for your students, right? Like, get out of your ego and what you think a successful yoga instructor is supposed to look like, and what is it that you started teaching for?
Yes.
Who did you start teaching for? And who cares how many people? Because that wasn't the goal. The goal wasn't to say I want 75 people in my class, butts to Gus, sweating it out, fogging the mirrors up. That wasn't. And for somebody that may be their goal, but that wasn't. You're right. That wasn't my goal. It is. It's very important to be clear on that.
Yeah.
But I
Always
think
knowing
too,
your why. Yes.
yeah, I think too, as yoga instructors, because we're so introspective, if you're paying close enough attention, you'll get there, right? Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, you'll get there.
It all
Yeah.
takes time. Like that's another thing that I noticed with some new instructors is that the expectation of the big classes to happen immediately, it does not.
Girl.
Even for seasoned instructors, especially if you're new to a space anywhere, like it takes some time. And not to mention, folks are fickle. like they'll be regular for a few months, and then next thing you know, where was so and so? I haven't seen them in like two
Yeah,
months, and then they
yeah,
pop up 3 months later. Like, okay. And that sometimes it happens in waves like that, and
yeah.
it's just kind of the nature of. I hate using the word industry, but it's
But that's what it is. But
what
life
it
be
is now.
lifing.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. Life be lifing for students. Sometimes they can make it consistently, and sometimes they can't. But I will say that I've noticed two things for me has really helped build my client, my student base or my client base in a way that is I guess I want to say scalable. It grew my client base in a way that made sense for me, that was manageable for me, and that felt more authentic. And the first thing I noticed I had to start doing on a regular basis was being authentic. So if I was trying to teach classes like the yoga teachers that had 75 people in their class, I was exhausted after class because that's not necessarily authentically me. And I may have some people that show up, like I may have a lot of students that first time, but then over time, people aren't stupid. They know that ain't really how Courtney is, or that ain't
Mm-hmm.
really how she usually teaches. So you'll have that inconsistency. And the other part is consistency. I noticed that when
Exactly.
I was teaching on a regular basis and I was teaching my way, the way that feels good to me every class, that's when my client base and my student base started to grow. So consistency and authenticity were the two things that really made a difference for my classes. Um, yeah, yeah.
Oh yeah.
And the things that helped me identify best what I love to do, how I love to teach, and what feels good for me and my students, and how to best build that relationship with them. Because that's the other thing too. If you're not consistent and authentic, you can't build any relationships with your students, and that's why they're not coming back.
Oh yeah. Like the key thing is being there. Like
Yeah,
when you're scheduled to be somewhere, especially if you have a regular class somewhere, or even if you're offering it regularly on your own, be consistent. Having that offering there every week and you being there every week or however many times a week it is, taking this chance to not sub out your class every
girl.
because
I love to
oh,
hop on a plane and go to a different country and get a stamp in my passport, but I had to chill out. I
the
really did.
vacations are allowed, but you're right though. Consistency is super key,
Yep.
and because people want to be there when you're there, not when
Yeah.
you're subbing out your class 3-4 times a month.
Yeah. And they don't know who this new person is. They may be great, but that ain't who I
Right.
signed up for.
Because they came for
Yeah.
that unique package and the
Yeah.
package ain't there. So it's like, well,
Yep.
I'm not going to be there then. I'll go
Yep.
somewhere else.
Yep. Yep.
It's
Yep. Yep.
tough. It's tiring, but I don't know. I still love what I do. Like, I'll be
Yeah.
tired, but I still love this stuff.
Yeah.
I'm always going to show up the best I can when I can.
Yep.
If I'm,
Yep.
unless I absolutely cannot, I'm going to take care of myself first and foremost, then that's a different story. But no,
Yeah, being tired when you're passionate about what you're doing is a different type of
It's
tired.
so different.
Yeah.
Because I noticed that after switching from the corporate world to just
Yeah.
yoga,
Yeah.
like I am working way more than I ever was behind a desk. But I'm ready to show up every day for this. Whereas every day I showed up to that damn office, I'm
Just
like in the
just
in my car just cussing the whole world out.
wake up tired, clock in
Right?
tired.
Oh my goodness, leave tired, end up dissociating on the way home. Like, how the hell did I get here? I was on autopilot the entire way. And that
Yeah.
doesn't really happen. Like, yes, physical burnout does happen. And depending on, studio culture, other types of burnout can happen too.
Yeah.
But it's different because your heart is just,
Hmm.
I'm not even going to speak for anybody else. My heart is really in this because
Yeah.
I love this shit so much.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, where are you planning to go aside from what you're already doing with psychotherapeutic yoga? Where are you planning to take it? Like another year or two or more out in advance? In the future, I mean.
In another year or two, I hope to have even more relationships with Black therapists. My goal is to really create a safe space for people who look like you and I to be able to practice and heal and create community and grow together and breathe together and practice together and just be, just be little brown hippies or whatever it is you want to be. Um, and facilitate a space where we all feel safe and and are able to heal. Um, whatever that looks like, I try not to put too clear parameters on that because I've learned that my goals and my desires will generally be surpassed by anything I could possibly imagine because I want to live in abundance. And so usually abundance shocks me every single time, but whatever it is, it will be something that facilitates space for people to heal and have community and um practice yoga. That won't change either. Health, wellness, peace, all of that. But I do know that right now in the interim, like the plan that I have now to get me to whatever abundance looks like in the future is to continue to build relationships with therapists, to continue to build relationship with mental health facilities, and to continue teaching psychotherapeutic yoga to whoever wants to have it. Yes. And then maybe in the far future, I'd love to be able to teach other yogis who want to learn how to teach psychotherapeutic yoga. Um, but if I'm being honest, that really makes me nervous because I don't really know of too many. I'm not, I hate speaking stuff like this out into the world, but so I'm not. I'm not. There will people will come. People will be interested in psychotherapeutic yoga. They want to learn what it's about, especially once I continue to do the work that I'm trying to do currently. So I'm gonna just leave it at
Yes, I'm glad you stopped yourself because I was really about to
that.
shake you through the screen. Because it is intimidating to, the idea of teaching others to teach the thing that you are doing.
Hmm.
Because we, I know I struggle with imposter syndrome like a mofo. Um, but you already do it. You're already doing it by giving what it is that you know about psychotherapeutic yoga and all of these other things. You're giving out all of that information to the people that come to you for it in a different way. So the only way to flip flop it is to just, instead of teaching it in a matter of it being applied to life, you're teaching it in a way of here's how you tell people to apply it,
Hmm.
or just giving them examples of what it is you do. So it's
Yeah.
real similar to just, what it is that you do now. So you're completely capable. You are completely capable. And you're going to be amazing and fantastic. And the amount of people that you're
Oh,
going to help is just outstanding.
thank you, friend. I appreciate you.
You're welcome. Because shoot, I'm over here. Like, as soon as you said that, I'm like, I want to learn something from you. Teach me.
I will say the world has a beautiful way of working in your favor if you stay open to it. I'm really hoping that everything that I've learned in my life, whether it's been corporate, whether it's been yoga related, all of it helps me to build towards what I really want to do, what I want to continue to do. I don't have any complaints about anything that I'm currently doing. I just want to continue to build upon it. Let me be clear, because you don't know who listening, who watching. But I really just want to continue to build upon that and share as much as I can. So, and I do I as much as I feel like I have imposter syndrome, I also have some confidence. And that's the other thing I'll say too. Whether it's power yoga, whatever it is that you teach, it should be confidence building. Whatever it is that you practice, it should be confidence building. I think a lot of people get confidence from power yoga.
Mhm.
Um, in a way that makes perfect sense to me. But I wanted to put that in earlier in the conversation and I didn't. So I just said it just now. But yeah, I appreciate the support. I don't think that either one of us will be unsuccessful in anything that we really, really want and desire and put our minds to. Because you have been doing DFW yoga in black. Did I say it right, friend?
You did. We dropped the DFW though, so
That's
it's
right.
just yoga in black now. But
Okay.
yeah, it started out as that for sure.
Yes, and
So
now it's
I'm
global.
never gonna not
No,
acknowledge that. I still got t-shirts and sweatshirts and coffee mugs and bags all with that logo on it. So
we started local and now we global. That's how we're putting that. Yes, we started in the DFW area and now it's just going to be nationwide and global. Love it. But anyway, um, I love this platform that you built and that you're creating. And I just can't wait to see how it continues to grow and evolve and develop. And the beautiful thing is, I'm low key jealous because you get to meet so many different dope ass yoga teachers and healers and people throughout Dallas and the Metro
and
Dallas area. It's amazing.
and me being such an introvert, I am very surprised at myself in the first place. So
Yeah.
it's this is one of those type of wildest dreams kind of a situation where it's like, holy shit, I'm really doing this and have been for a couple of years now. What?
Mhm. That means
But
you're doing what you're
yeah,
supposed to do. Yeah.
yeah.
But do you find as an introvert that it's easier to have conversations one on one than it is in
Mhm.
like group settings?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Big time. Like that's
Yeah.
why I really do enjoy this because it's one on one. Um, not too many things going on at once. Cause like I said, I'm very easily distracted, very easily overstimulated. And it's just like, you know what? I need to scale it down a little bit. I would love to have a meetup. I'm still trying to figure out how to plan that, especially now that we're branching out outside of Dallas and Texas. But the majority of us are here, so
Yeah.
I'm
And
still
anybody
trying to
who ain't,
figure
just
that
come on.
out. Yeah, space to make it happen. The only thing is I'm trying to figure out funding and stuff, but and life happened for a year. So
Yeah.
I had to take a little bit of a break, but yeah, I'm just as amazed as you are and just letting the universe guide me where it takes me because I'm very similar to you and just trying to live in some type of abundance, and it just keeps saying, here, have this, here, what about that, here, sprinkle this here, wait a minute, hold on a second, do this other thing real quick because then it's gonna feed into this and then you come back to that and then we'll like, okay, I'm just gonna follow along with it and hope for the best.
It's gonna happen. I'm excited about the meetup too. I cannot wait to see all of us come together. Oh, it's gonna be
Yes.
so fun. It's gonna be so fun. That'll be
Ah,
great.
it'll be a great time. Great time indeed. And I'll probably call on you to help me with it anyway.
Let's get it. I'm here for you. I would love to.
With the aftermath of Corona and it's continued wake of bullshit, do you think that there will be more people that will start to gravitate toward yoga and healing practices and therapy and all these things? Like, or have you already seen it happen?
Yeah, I think it already has happened, especially with there's been a growth in people going to therapy since the pandemic, and there's been a high demand for additional therapists in a lot of different industries. So, with the therapists that I talk to, they're inundated with clients and end up having to refer clients to other therapists because they just don't have the bandwidth to put any more clients on their schedule. So, it's been, I think, a great uh, influx and growth in the mental health space in that capacity. Um, yeah, just within the past 2 years. And I think a lot of it is because we had to sit at home with ourselves and our partners and our children. And I said ourselves already, but I'm gonna say it again, ourselves for
Yeah.
essentially like give or take 2 years. And with that, it can become very apparent that, oh, I could use somebody else to talk to besides just my thoughts and my partner who also needs therapy as well, in addition to. So I think that has had a lot to do with it. And even if the the starting factor was COVID, I think that's okay if it allows people to have conversations about whatever else is going on in their life. Everybody needs someone to talk to, and like you said, to your point, someone that's unbiased, a third party that their sole purpose and goal is to help you unpack what's going on in your own personal life. So yeah, that has definitely been what I've been seeing in the mental health field for sure.
And because I knew it was going to end up that way, because I'm one of those people. Even though I have a history of therapy usage, um, there were things that were missed in my therapy that I started noticing being at home by myself, because it was just me and my dog, and that led me to realizing that I'm not just a person that has ADHD, but I'm also autistic. And I'm like, ah, I would have never known that if I had never gotten the chance to slow down. Would have never known that. And I could feel that shift even before it started to really take hold on a lot of people. Like within the first couple months of being by, within a quarantine, like, well, there's about to be a major shift in this world. There's a whole lot of awareness that's really starting to open up, and folks are going to be so attuned to so much more because we're having to push pause and still, exist, but not have to go through all of that craziness that we've become so used to. And given that amount of time to just sit and process, so much comes up.
Yeah. And you know what? I minimized a very important part or a very important factor of that as well. Not only were people having to sit at home with their thoughts, they were having to figure out what life was going to look like going forward, right? Do I keep my job? Do I still have my job? Where is this money going to come from to pay the rent? There were so many layers and nuances and things that went into it that it hit people, including myself, from so many angles
Yeah.
that, even if sitting at home with yourself was something that you were okay with, there were so many unforeseeable changes, and the world just looked totally different in a way that no one could understand or comprehend or plan for or
At all.
anticipate. And so with that, has a lot of fear, a lot of stress, a lot of anxiety. And so, yeah, folks was like, well, what can we do? Go to therapy, sign me up. Let's do that. And so that makes perfect sense to me. But yeah, it is. I feel like it is a very, very important part of anyone's health and wellness journey, right? Going to
Mm-hmm.
the gym is great. Practicing yoga is great. Therapy is important.
Big
Yeah.
time. And the fact that it was made so much more accessible throughout that period too, just it shifted a lot for folks because oh
Now it's virtual. It's and it's always been virtual, but it wasn't an option that most people opted into
mm,
until the pandemic. Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Do you guys because you're working with someone right now, correct? You did mention that.
Yeah. You mean a therapist that
Yeah.
yes. Yeah.
You all offer everything virtual as well?
Yes. Yeah.
That is awesome. What's the name? Well, go ahead and shout it out if you want to. Give it
Oh,
up the places that you teach.
I offer psychotherapeutic yoga in partnership with the Balancing Place. Let me make sure. Hold on, before I say anything further, I want to make sure I have the website uh,
And if not, we'll put it in the show notes
properly.
so that
Yeah.
way folks can find it there too.
Yes. Well, the Balancing Place is a Black-owned therapy facility that is led by Regina Buchanan, and she is the primary therapist there. She has additional therapists that work with her, and they all offer virtual sessions as well.
Awesome.
Um, oh, the website is linktree / the balancing place. But yes, please put it in the show notes as well.
Absolutely.
As a matter of fact, I think we have one of our first group sessions coming up in the month of October. And so this will be one of our first psychotherapeutic yoga group sessions. Let me see.
That's
Let me see.
exciting.
Yes, I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be in Addison. And then I'll make sure, like, when you put this in the show notes, I'll be sure to give you the details for it. I don't know if,
Absolutely.
okay. Girl, I
Now,
can find
this
it.
will likely not air until November, but
Oh,
it'll
well,
still, yeah, it'll still be,
we'll have
totally.
another one in November too.
Oh, yeah. We'll talk about all the things.
Yeah, I think it's towards the end of October, like the 22nd. But yeah, so the goal is to have group sessions on a regular basis in the Metro Dallas, probably North Dallas area,
Okay.
at least once a month, so folks can come, and it'll be about an hour and a half. So there'll be opportunities before and after to create community, to get to know the fellow students there, and then we'll have a practice, and then we'll do a little bit more networking and getting to know each other towards the end. But the idea will be to bring a journal. We'll have mats and props available for you. And then you can experience the psychotherapeutic yoga practice, document your thoughts at the end, and maybe we'll give you a little bit of homework, some tools that you can use in your everyday life to kind of, again, help manage and cope with life.
I love that. I love it so much. That's exciting.
Thank you.
I'm so excited for you.
Thank you. I
Mm.
appreciate it. I'm looking forward to seeing how this grows and develops. I want to take my time and do it right. That's a song. Take your time, do it. It's an inappropriate song. But do you know this? You
Hey,
know what I'm
we
talking
can we
about?
can we can make the context change.
I'm trying to
Our
think. What,
prerogative.
baby, we can do it. Take your time, do it right. We can.
That can
You don't know
apply to
the
so many different things. I know the
song?
song. Yeah, that can
Okay.
apply to so many things. It ain't got
Well,
to be that.
that's what it was in the song. But yes, anyway, I do. The goal is to take my time with this and make sure that I can um uh do it the best way I can. So yeah, I do hope that people are able to come out and experience yoga in this capacity. You'll find that it's very similar to yoga that you've already experienced. It's just you get a little extra razzle dazzle at the beginning, at the end. And that's what I love about it. You get more of the tools that yoga has to offer in a very easily digestible and accessible way. So
I
yeah.
love that. I love that so much. And that's open to anyone, correct? It doesn't have to be anybody that's a client of the Balancing Place? Just
It is open to everyone. That is absolutely correct. It's just hosted by the Balancing Place. Yeah.
that's so dope.
Yeah. And
Gosh.
hopefully, like I said, I'm partnering with another therapist. I think we talked about this before we actually started the podcast, but
Hmm.
I'll be partnering with another therapist in the area that I live in. And so we'll probably start hosting additional classes. So the point is, there'll be multiple opportunities to practice psychotherapeutic yoga. And if you don't feel like saying all that, it's yoga. It's yoga for your brain and your body and your spirit. It's yoga for you. That's really all it is. So there'll be a lot of opportunities in the upcoming future to practice across the Metro Dallas area. And yeah, do you have a website for that for Yoga in Black?
Yeah, yogainblack.net.
Okay, are you doing like, look, just stop me if I do too
Look,
much, but
hey, I've planned to add so many things to that website. Like I wanted
okay,
to get it up at first to just A, save the no domain, and B, have a space where an easy location where folks could go to schedule recording sessions.
okay,
But it'll definitely be so much more than that as you know as we progress. But to start, I'm like I only need a couple of pages right now.
I get it. I
But
totally get it.
I
Look at me, I'm
totally
like, you
want it
can
to
do this.
be, yeah, but the Instagram will definitely be where I share more
Okay.
of the events and those flyers. But hoping to somehow toggle between both the website and Instagram to be
Hmm.
spaces where events are shared. I just know it'll be more difficult for me
To
as an
manage. No, I totally
yeah,
get it.
as
Yeah.
I know, so I'm a one woman show over here with the help of my client who designed the website for me. But
Nice.
yeah, I'll have to hook you up with her. She's awesome.
You took the words out of my mouth
She's
because I
also a
built,
yoga instructor too.
oh, that's dope. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Please
Yes.
share her information because I built my page, my website myself. But if she were to see it, she would laugh at me and my lack of
Look, I
skills.
sent her like I figured out how to put a picture up in the homepage.
Nice.
And I looked at everything else and I'm like, I have no idea what this means. Help.
I can't and I won't. Yeah, I can't and I won't.
Like
Yeah. So
I got
like managing
overwhelmed
a
immediately.
yeah, managing a website and managing an Instagram page, managing these podcasts, that is a lot. That is a lot. You're gonna need a virtual assistant real soon.
Look, I'm over here trying to service trade with everybody. Like, would you like some discounted or free yoga? Or at least or I'll provide the amount of yoga it would take to charge whatever you charge for your thing. Like
Right.
just
Yeah. We can
help.
work it
Let's help
out.
each other out some
Yes.
way, shape, or form. I
Yeah,
wish we
that's a
could get
fact.
back to that as a whole, but capitalism got this country in a chokehold.
Inflatuation has it, yeah, that's a real thing too.
Mm, 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 mm.
Inflatuation, inflation. Yes, inflation. My God.
We don't add that to Webster's or Oxford.
I don't want people on your podcast thinking I'm ignorant. I know what the word
No, that's just a compound word.
is. That's it. That's
That's
right. I
it.
could spell it too. I could spell that imaginary ass word. I could.
See?
Inflatuation.
I'm glad we got a Kairo cameo.
I'm surprised this is the first time he actually appeared in real time. Look at you.
For those that can't see, Courtney has the most beautiful Doberman. Oh my goodness. He is so pretty. He
He is
knows it
so
too. I know
bad.
he knows it.
That's the issue. He know he cute.
Mm-hmm.
He's real. He did good though. You did good, baby. You gave me a whole hour of peace and quiet. Yeah, you did good, Bug.
Well, I
You
think
did. I love this
he's
dog so much.
definitely our alarm to tell us, all right, wrap this up, y'all.
Yeah. I don't know what he wants, but it's something. He wants something. It's time to go. All right, Bug. All right, down, down. I'm almost done. Good boy. You stay. Yeah, I love that dog so much. It's embarrassing. It's ridiculous. It's
You
out of control.
know,
He's about to get his own page, Tyranny, on
look,
Instagram.
you know how hard it was for me not to do that with Felix? Oh my goodness. Like I have
Yeah.
so much footage of that side eye. Like
Yeah.
the personality on that dog's face. Oh my
It is
goodness.
so great. They're just the best. They really, really are. They really are. Cairo.
Big
Stop.
time.
Yeah.
So with that, why don't you let us know where we can find you, your socials, website, all those things where are you currently teaching a regular class anywhere?
No, I'm not teaching a regular group session at the moment.
Okay.
But you can message me on my website, iyogaflow.net, if you're interested in private or one-on-one sessions, or if you're interested in group events, right? So maybe you have a party or something like that. I also facilitate yoga classes for bridal showers and things like that. So you can always hit me up on iyogaflow.net. My Instagram is at iyogaflow. And girl, I need to get a better email address, but my email address does not match the other two that I just mentioned. My email address is
I'll
C
create one
Chanel
real quick.
B. Yeah, I know, right? Real quick. That's not hard to do. We built whole web pages. Why can't I just create a new Gmail account? Anyway, the Gmail is cchanelb@gmail.com. That's CCHANELBE@gmail.com. But yeah, if you DM me on my Instagram page or message me on my website, either way, I'll get back to you.
Awesome. And all of that information will be in the show notes as well for you to find. But Courtney, thank you so much for taking a third opportunity to chat with me. It's
Third
always a
time's a
pleasure
charm.
being in your presence. I love you.
Same.
I
I love
love
you
you.
too, friend. I love you too. I'm looking forward for us to work on some more projects together. I feel like we'll be doing some more things together in the future.
All the time. All the time.
Yes.
Because you're one of the first people I always go to for things.
I appreciate you and I love you back.
Thank you so much, everyone, for listening in. Tune in next week for another fabulous yogi. Bye.
Bye, Tierney.
Thank you for tuning in for this episode of the Yoga in Black podcast. Next week, I'll chat with Elsa Thompson. Every Tuesday, we're airing a new episode, so be sure to check back in next week on Spotify or check us out on YouTube. You can find us at www.yogainblack.net or the Yoga in Black podcast on YouTube or on Instagram at yoga.inblack. Have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you next week.